like this discussion was
Yeah,
meaningful. Yeah, Garvit, go ahead, please.
yeah.
Yeah.
Are you able to listen me?
Yes, you are
Yeah,
completely audible.
Srinandan, thank you so much for such a wonderful video. So, if we study the history of India, there are many Swadeshi Andolans, just like we have seen emerge nowadays. Why do these Andolans, where we try to prefer make in India or buy something that has been manufactured in India, actually failed? And what lessons can we draw from history so that right now, the moment that Modi government has tried to start does not fail?
Garvit, your voice is breaking. Are you still speaking? Because I'm not able to hear you.
Yeah, are you able to hear me now?
Yes, you are audible now.
Yeah, I'm saying there were many Swadeshi Andolans in the past during British rule. Okay, the purpose was to make in India to facilitate Indian growth, but these all measures have actually failed. So, what lessons can we draw from our past so that this initiative does not really fail and we can convert this a golden opportunity, a once in a century opportunity created by coronavirus into something very, very visible? What lessons can we draw from our past failures?
Was that a
Hello.
question for me?
Yeah. That question was for you.
Yeah, so like I mentioned about the global economy surplus upsurge that happened in 2000, China was able to monopolize into that issue. It was able to draw all the foreign investments into the country, uh, primarily because of two reasons. One was that as it is a communist run totalitarian party, the people of the Chinese people in China do not have a say in how the market runs or how the market operates. The communist regime got to dictate that we are going to invest a lot in entrepreneurs sector and we are going to invest a lot in development sector by pulling in these companies who are ready to invest in China, looking at the huge infrastructure, by committing and training a lot of, as the population of China is close to 2 billion, they wanted to, it has reduced a lot because of the one child policy which was introduced way back and now they have lifted. So they wanted to train all this manpower, all this workforce they had, and they got them into each sector, be it production, be it assembling, be it automobile, be it information technology, and they got each and every substitution for themselves. So we have Google, which is the world's largest search engine. China has its own, it's Baidu. We have got Facebook, we have got WhatsApp. China has its own messenger, the Line messenger. And China found a replacement for everything, which is why the foreign direct investment in China resulted in an economic bloom, and which is why they have the highest number of foreign reserves. So if India has to replicate what China did way back in 2000, this is right, like you rightly said, a great opportunity for us. We need to focus on investments in areas wherein we can develop our own products end to end. It does not have to be starting from a company based out of Germany and being sold in India, or it does not have to be a product starting from a company based out of India and being sold by a company based out of US or UK. So it has to be end to end. So the manufacturing and the selling, like China did, we have to do it on our own, and that is how it will improve the economy. It will scale up the FDIs that we have so far. The foreign investment or the foreign reserves that India has will boom, and if not close to China, we will be able to replace whatever China has able to garner in the last 2 decades. We will be able to do it in the next 5 to 10 years based on the interest shown by giants like Amazon, Samsung, and Apple, taking the help of these three superpowers, and the fact that US has completely boycotted a lot of Chinese companies. Huawei was boycotted by Google. Most of you would be knowing. So Huawei cannot use Android as its operating system in its newly launched smartphones. it was because Huawei, as suspected by Donald Trump, was leaking out information to China, which is what Chinese smartphone companies and Chinese manufacturers do. So Huawei is blocked. Huawei cannot use Qualcomm's SoC. It cannot use Intel's processor. It cannot use Google's Android. So this is an opportunity, and of course, you might have also read the news that Japan has asked all its investment firms to pull themselves out of China, and there were talks between India and Japan to get those firms established within India. So if this happens, then whatever China was able to garner in the last 2 decades, we will be able to do, and we will be able to raise the bar in the next couple of years, end to end. This is what I believe, and this is one of the learning lessons, that we need to invest in manpower, in training the manpower in such a way that we are capable enough to make the development progress link to link completely. That's what I have with me, Garvit. Garvit, if you're speaking, I'm not able to hear you.
Okay, are you able to hear me now?
Yes, you're audible now.
Yeah, I also want to add some point. The
Sure.
FDI in India was slow because of some reasons. Okay, they were basically so due to two main reasons: the labor laws and the land acquisition law. So it's a good news for us right now. The UP government, the Karnataka government, MP government, Rajasthan government, and Punjab government has abolished many bureaucratic hurdles, taking the advantage of coronavirus situation. Even land acquisition is becoming very easy thanks to the Modi government. So I think this time we can do it. Let's see what our government has put its effort. Our duty is to boycott most of the foreign products. That's what we can really do right now.
True, that's correct. Boycott most of the foreign products. And like I said in the smartphone part, there are certain areas where we need to build products ourselves, because India does not really have a replacement right now, an alternative right now. Like in terms of smartphones, okay, we have got Micromax, Intex, there was one more, Videocon, Zolo. But when it comes to laptop, we don't even have a single Indian company which manufactures laptops end to end, right? So these are areas where, since we don't have a replacement right now, we first of all we have to cut off Chinese usage. Whatever Chinese influx we have, we can cut it off by not using Chinese products. So no Lenovo, right, which is a major Chinese company. No Lenovo, no Motorola. We can use Asus, we can use Acer, we can use HP, till the time an Indian company comes up with a solution and builds up laptops for and within Indians. Right? If that happens, then we have a permanent solution to this quandary. Okay. Nick, I think you have raised your hand. You can go ahead.
We need a skilled labor जो इंडिया में जंक ऑफ अनस्किल्ड लेबर है ये एक मेजर प्रॉब्लम है और इन्वेस्टमेंट इसलिए नहीं आता है फिर इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर की प्रॉब्लम है तो यूपी के गवर्नमेंट योगी गवर्नमेंट ने अनाउंसमेंट बहुत अच्छा कर दिया कि हम इनको जॉब देंगे तो यहाँ पे योगी ने बड़ा स्मार्टली बॉल दूसरों के कोर्ट में फेंक दिया कि कौन सी गवर्नमेंट कंपनीज ले जाती है तो हरियाणा मुंबई गुजरात एमपी सब एक दूसरे से फाइट कर रहे हैं कि हम हमारे पास ज्यादा कंपनी आई हमारे पास कंपनी आएगी यूपी में जाने से रही क्योंकि वहाँ का इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर नहीं है वहाँ पे लाइट्स नहीं है जानता हूँ क्योंकि मैं वहाँ रहा हूँ
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल, मैं एग्री करता हूँ आपके बात से। गर्वित और मैं उसी बारे में बात कर रहे थे, अबाउट having more skilled labors. Garvit, you want to add something? Please go ahead. I will add once we're done. Garvit, are you able to hear me?
Listen, hello.
Yes, you're audible now.
Yeah, Nick, you rightly said that the condition in Uttar Pradesh, especially in the term of FDI or security, has been pathetic for last one generation, two generation, ever since the independence. Right now, after the coming of Yogi government, the situation has actually changed very, very drastically. Before, there used to be no movement of the vehicle in the night. Why? Because there was fear of the birds, robbery, rape, murder. But right now, the situation is very, very, very improved, extremely improved. You can see the police car patrolling. Why I can say this? Because my home is next to Uttar Pradesh in Uttarakhand. Okay. Second, the investments in UP are very, very high because of one simple reason. Right now, Yogi Adityanath has actually abolished all the labor rules. Okay. So these were the main bureaucratic hurdles during those times. So labor rules, land acquisition rule, all have been suspended for 3 years. So I think there will be major, major push towards Uttar Pradesh because Uttar Pradesh has been trying to gain this momentum. The US companies learning out of China from the April. They have set up a special committee which has been directly working with the CEOs of Adobe or Boston Dynamics. So I'm very hopeful for Uttar Pradesh right now because Uttar Pradesh is 23 crore. Okay, it is almost like entire Pakistan. So if we don't develop Uttar Pradesh and Bihar, we can't develop it. And right now, I'm very hopeful for that.
Indeed, indeed. And when I was talking about how did China manage to get all these FDIs into it, I mentioned about a point called regulatory environment, where the Chinese government promoted investment in commercial and entrepreneurial activities by providing financial incentives in the form of tax breaks, grants, low-cost government loans, and subsidies. So that is one way of making your laborers skilled, right? So unless that happens, unless you have an investment made on people who want to work, and like Gavit rightly said, so all these laws and land acquisition rules that have been abolished right now for a couple of years, these give a platform for people to come up with ideas and put their skills on the use. The training will happen obviously, and once we have got these tax breaks, then we can definitely facilitate a platform wherein people can pitch in and do the work which Chinese do in terms of setting up assembly units and manufacturing hubs. Gavit, you want to add something else? Okay. All right. Does anyone else have anything to add or question? All right. Okay. So if no questions or nothing to add, then we can do what we do at the end of every
Hey,
discussion. We can
hey
take.
Shri, am I audible?
Oh, Sunny. Sorry, I did not see. Yeah, please go ahead.
Okay, first of all, the presentation was wonderful, and I would
Sunny,
like
I'm
to
barely
request
able to
you
hear you. Could you please speak closer to the microphone?
okay, now is it audible?
Yes, it's a lot better now.
Okay, first of all, very thankful to have this presentation. The presentation was very wonderful.
Thank you.
I would like to request you to throw some light on the China economic corridor to Pakistan that they are building. They are actually expanding their territorial economy. They are expanding their territories by building Chinese colonies in Balochistan, as we all know that. So they are actually expanding their economy through territory. So I would like you to throw some light on it so that the viewers know about it also.
Sure, sure. This was one area which I wanted to put in, but since it was not directly uh, associated with what the Prime Minister said in the last speech related to the economic reforms and going for local, so I did not put it up. Folks, China Pakistan economic corridor is basically like what Sunny said. It's a collection of infrastructure projects that are currently under construction throughout Pakistan, right? So, like Sunny said, it's Balochistan, and Balochistan covers more than 40% of Pakistan. So, these projects are under construction and they are going around throughout Pakistan. And as most of you know, that Pakistan has gifted a part of Baltistan to China, and that is a part of POK, part of occupied Kashmir. And through that, this facilitation happens. This China-Pakistan economic corridor is, if I remember correctly, it's valued at $46 billion, and the value of these projects were worth $62 billion as of 2017. So this is where जो हम लोग बातें करते हैं कि पाकिस्तान भीख मांगते रहता है चाइना से, and this is the prime reason why Pakistan does this, because CPEC or China Pakistan Economic Corridor, even though it is currently probably it is paused, but it will slowly resume once China gets out of this coronavirus phase. It is intended to rapidly upgrade Pakistan's required infrastructure and strengthen its economy. How they are going to do this? It is by construction of modern transportation networks, numerous energy projects, and special economic zones. So on 13th November 2016, CPEC became partly operational when Chinese cargo was transported overland to Gwadar port for onward maritime shipment to Africa and West Asia. While some major projects they were committed as late as 2017, but this one, the Gwadar port, it came into effect in 2016, and China plans to build vast number of highways, a lot of railway networks, and this will span the length and breadth of Pakistan. So if you look at what China is doing, it is basically trying to take a command over the territory around India, right? So they have done it in Burma. They have got hotspots over there. They did it in Pakistan, and you know what they're doing in Arunachal Pradesh and in Nepal. So we were having a WhatsApp discussion in the morning about that as well. So what they're doing is they're creating a circle wherein they have got complete monopoly of the trade routes and what happens throughout these areas. So as and when they want, as and when they have the control and they have the authority, they can stop the inflow and the outflow of the products within the Indian subcontinent. And this, with the help of Pakistan, puts our position as Indians in risk, because the more these railway networks and more these highway networks are built, it strengthens Pakistan's economy. And you know, the country Pakistan, if its economy gets strengthened, then it will get more and more power and authority to build the UN resolution against Kashmir, and again do the breeding terror grounds like it always does. So this is one corridor which needs to be stopped. If it does not, then Pakistan's economy is we are looking towards Pakistan being a smaller superpower, with China being the greater one, like a father-son relationship. And if it does not stop, then it is directly impacting India's current stand in the UN, United Nations resolutions on the Kashmir issue, as well as the future development that might take place. Because if this corridor, if this area is complete, if the inflow is completely controlled and authorized by China, then we won't see more foreign direct investments coming to India, and it would be hijacked by Pakistan, so to say. So this is just a basic idea of what CPEC or China Pakistan Economic Corridor is all about. It is, like I said, a $67 billion project worth, and it is seen to expand post once China comes out of this coronavirus zone. We are likely to see it expand. But if there are talks, if the way things are being looked at right now, China won't be doing a thing for the next couple of months, having compromised its position in front of US's stand on World Health Organization. So it puts China in a lot of compromising position. If in case China takes it forward, then it would see a lot of economic boycott from a lot of countries. Already Germany, US, and I guess it was Italy who have taken this stand. A lot more countries would be pitching in, and they would be stopping the inflow. Garvit, you want to add something to this?
Yeah.
Yeah, please
Firstly,
go ahead.
I want to say something. A famous quote: Pakistan has no army. Okay, you would like to be surprised. Pakistan actually has no army, but Pakistan army owns actually a whole state. Okay, so CPAC, in very simple words, Pakistani army, their general, have sold the entire nation with the lust of economic prosperity to the China. It is just like a new colonial project. Okay, the chief objective of CPEC is to connect the port of Gwadar with the city of Kashgar, which is in East Turkmenistan or Xinjiang province of China, because it has two purposes. Okay, firstly, it reduces their oil dependence to Malacca Strait. Their 90% oil right now passes through a simple strait, Malacca Strait, which is near Andaman and Singapore. Okay, so Indian Army or the US Armada can actually blockade it very, very easily. So their first objective is to bypass this strait. Alternative, temporary. Okay, their second objective is to connect their western part of the China, that is Xinjiang. As you know, that Xinjiang is a same province where there is Uyghur minority problem, terrorism. They are replacing Uyghurs with Han Chinese. So to facilitate development at Kashgar, they wanted to create this CPAC. Okay, and Gwadar is a very interesting port. Okay, most of the viewers will be surprised, but Gwadar was actually offered by Oman to the Jawaharlal Nehru, and this guy was so incompetent, so less visionary that he handed that important port to the Pakistan. Okay, including the kingdom of Kailat, Kailat or something like that. I don't really know its name. Even the Soviet army has invaded USSR with the final objective of controlling the Gwadar port. Gwadar was such an important port, but this Nehru has actually offered and gifted it to the Pakistan. What can we do really about that? And one thing is very important. If the Modi government is able to occupy Balochistan, Gilgit, and POK, will be able to break the neck of China. They are one of the most important projects and one of the most important link will be forever broken. So it should be an objective of Modi government to occupy Gilgit Baltistan, because all the roads of CPAC actually pass through Gilgit and Baltistan and POK of course. And CPAC is nothing. There is nothing for Pakistani. Most of the workers in CPAC are actually Chinese. It is a Chinese neo-colonism. Just like East India Company has gone all around the world to establish colonies, this is the Chinese way. And this is the way they are doing it. And the most ruthless barbarism will be done in Pakistan in the name of CPAC in the upcoming decade. Mark my word. If it actually exists. Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much, Garvit. You added a whole new information than what I had learned about this. It really broadened this perspective because I did not have idea about Nehru giving away the port to Pakistan, and this just adds up to the list of blunders which Nehru and the Congress Party did, and one by one how the BJP government is trying to rectify it. Yes, about the Gilgit-Baltistan thing. Well, recently India started forecasting the weather for Gilgit-Baltistan, which probably is hinting towards the fact that we can go aggressively towards taking up the land which is occupied by Pakistan in the future, in the near future. But again, there was an illegal Twitter page floating as the official ID of the Union territories of Ladakh and Gilgit-Baltistan. But yes, this is one of the things that BJP is eyeing up towards in the future. And if that happens, like you rightly said, we are going to completely bottleneck China and Pakistan's partnership in terms of building this economic corridor. That would be really a wonderful thing to happen, but it is a matter of a couple of years maybe for that to happen. So we'll have to look it up on how BJP tends to address this issue, building around India, trying to surround India, and choking India on all fronts. Jay, you have raised your hand. It will be great to have Indian Ukrainian speaking.
Thank you, Shri. But always an Indian brother. Uh, I do not have a question so far, but I would want to add something here. सनी ने बहुत अच्छा किया सबसे पहले तो कि ये पॉइंट आउट किया कि कैसे चाइनीज
जय, आप थोड़ा
अपना
जोर से बात कर सकते हैं? मुझे आपकी आवाज नहीं आ रही है सही
इज इट बेटर नाउ
से। या इट्स अ लॉट बेटर।
व्हाट आई वाज सेइंग इज सनी ने सबसे पहले तो ये बहुत अच्छा एक थॉट पे मेंशन किया था कि अपना टेरिटोरियल एक्सपेंशन जितनी ज़्यादा तेज़ी से चाइना कर रहा है ऑफ कोर्स इट हैज़ टेकन डेकेड्स, लेकिन कह सकते हैं तेज़ी से, क्योंकि बहुत ज़्यादा अग्रेसिवली कर रहा है चाइना। और जैसे तिब्बत पे किया, जैसे ताइवान पे करने जा रहा है, जैसे हांगकांग पे आज की तारीख में कर रखा है। तो ये चीज़ ऐसा नहीं है कि इंडिया इसके अगेंस्ट कुछ कर नहीं सकता। उसके बाद गर्वित ने जैसे ये मेंशन किया कि कैसे चाइना पीओके से पीछे है। तो ये भी है कि आज भी डैम को लेकर कोई प्रोजेक्ट्स वहाँ पे चल रहे हैं, जिसको कि पाकिस्तान ने लास्ट 2 to 3 डेज में कभी अप्रूव किया है। तो आई वाज थिंकिंग इफ वी कुड हैव अ सेशन एंटायरली ऑन दिस, कि कैसे। और एक और चीज़ मेंशन मेरे ख्याल से गर्वित ने करी थी कि चाइना पूरा जैसे इंडिया को सराउंड कर रहा है। आई एम नॉट श्योर इफ आपने करी थी श्री। तो कैसे हमारे नेबर्स को या तो वो बहुत ज़्यादा कमज़ोर कर रहा है, या तो वो बहुत ज़्यादा स्ट्रेंथन कर रहा है। जैसे पाकिस्तान को जितना ज़्यादा हो सके उनकी आर्मी को वो स्ट्रेंथन करने की कोशिश किए जा रहे हैं, और श्रीलंका या नेपाल जैसे नेशंस को वो बहुत ज़्यादा कमज़ोर कर रहे हैं। वहाँ पे हम्बन टोटा पोर्ट पे जैसे मैं तो कहूँगा कब्जा किया है। दैट्स द वर्ड आई वुड यूज़। तो इन चीज़ों के बारे में भी अगर हमें पहले से पता हो, जैसे क्या हुआ था कि हलाल पे आपने जो कंडक्ट किया था, वो इंसिडेंटली उसके कुछ ही दिनों में एक इंसिडेंट ऐसा हुआ कि ये चीज़ ट्रेंडिंग में आ गई। तो ये बहुत अच्छा होगा अगर इस टॉपिक के ऊपर भी हम पहले से एक सेशन ऐसा कुछ रखें, जिससे सबको ज़्यादा डीप में पता चले, स्ट्रिंग ऑफ पर्ल्स के बारे में पता चले, सो दैट इन फ्यूचर हम ब्लाइंडली किसी हैशटैग को यूज़ ना करें। हमें पता हो कि हम किस बारे में अब ये करने जा रहे हैं।
Bilkul Jay, I totally agree with you, and I think Garvit can take up a session on this on China-Pakistan economic corridor. Garvit has got good insights into this. ऐसे होने पर हम लोग को एक ओवरऑल आइडिया मिल जाएगा कि व्हाट इज द बैकड्रॉप ऑफ दिस, एंड अगर हम इससे द मेन पॉइंट इज कॉन्सिक्वेंसेस, राइट, अंडरस्टैंडिंग व्हाट विल बी द फ्यूचर इम्प्लीकेशंस इफ वी डोंट कंट्रोल दिस थिंग राइट नाउ। हलाल के ऊपर जो हम लोग का डिस्कशन था वो सेंट्रली फोकस इस चीज पे था कि अगर आज हम हलाल को चलने देते हैं तो कल क्या होगा हमारे हमारे साथ। तो दैट इज व्हाट वी वांट टू अंडरस्टैंड अबाउट द कॉन्सिक्वेंसेस, एंड Jay rightly mentioned that we need to be aware of the consequences in case something of this comes up. Movement start हो जाता है ट्विटर पे, ट्रेंड करने चल जाता है, तो we need to know what we are supporting or opposing. So probably if Garvit can take up a session on this, then it would be great. Next week, anyhow, we are looking up on a topic on caste-based discrimination. जो one of my colleagues is going to take that. If he does not turn up, then Garvit can take up session second next week or anytime he is ready. Or otherwise, we can plan it whenever the situation suits. So Garvit, आप क्या बोलते हो इस बारे में? गर्वित आवाज आ रही है? Sunny, is Garvit in your room?
Hello.
Yeah, Sunny.
Garvit is actually on walk. Maybe network issue can
Okay.
impact him.
Okay, no issues. We'll take it offline. We'll discuss with him offline. He's there on the board.
He will inform on the he will inform in the group if he will like to take the session on it.
Sure, sure. That would be great. Okay. निखिल, आपसे एंड करेंगे प्रोबेबली। आपने बात ऊपर किया है, प्लीज गो अहेड।
अगर पाकिस्तान सीख का एक तो फ्लॉप हो जाएगा, ये तो फ्लॉप है, ये तो नहीं बन सकता है। वहाँ का बहुत प्रॉब्लम है, इंटरनल प्रॉब्लम है, इंटरनल इशू है, वो तो नहीं बनने वाला है। अब इंडिया को वन चाइना पॉलिसी मतलब विड्रॉ करनी चाहिए। पहला काम तो ये करना चाहिए, 1954 में जो नेहरू ने साइन किया था पंचशील समझौता, वो तो 1962 में ही कैंसिल हो जाना चाहिए था। उसमें तो ये भी लिखा था कि एक दूसरी टेरिटरी में कोई नहीं घुसेगा और कोई अटैक नहीं करेगा। तो पांचवा पॉइंट तो उसने वायलेट कर दिया था, तो वन चाइना पॉलिसी तो वहीं का खत्म हो जाती। और ताइवान को कल कल बहुत इम्पोर्टेंट दिन है, कल अगर स्टैंड लेता है इंडिया तो और एक और ऑप्शन है, भूटान में बहुत प्रॉब्लम क्रिएट कर रहा है चाइना, किसी का ध्यान नहीं जा रहा है वहां पे। भूटान में भड़काया जा रहा है लोगों को कि वो चाइना को ज्वाइन करना है। इंडिया के अगेंस्ट वहाँ पे माहौल बनाया गया है, जैसे नेपाल ने बनाया धीरे 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 धीरे, वही वही काम वहाँ चल रहा है।
देखिए इस बात मैं पूरी तरीके से एग्री करता हूँ एंड जो इशू है कि चाइना दूसरे देशों पे बहुत ज्यादा इधर मोनोपोलाइज कर रहा है या अपनी जो इम्पोजिशन है वो रख रहा है। शायद ह्यूमन राइट्स वायलेशन अगर किसी देश में सबसे ज्यादा होता है अपार्ट फ्रॉम मिडिल ईस्ट कंट्रीज इन एशियन कंट्रीज, आई थिंक इट वुड बी वन नॉर्थ कोरिया एंड द अदर वन इज चाइना। हम कश्मीर को लेके कुछ भी होता है तो इट बिकम्स एन इंटरनेशनल अफेयर जहां की ऑलमोस्ट एवरी इंटरनेशनल मीडिया आउटलेट कम्स इन एंड सेज that Indian army is doing human right violations in Kashmir upon on Kashmiris. But when it comes to Uyghur Muslims and the the biggest what can I say brand ambassador of this Kashmir issue, Pakistan, who consider themselves champions of this issue, they don't have the iota of shame to acknowledge that Uyghur Muslims are being they चाइना इज कमिटिंग ट्रक लोड ऑफ एट्रोसिटीज ऑन देम। और पाकिस्तान के पास ये एक बोलने तक का हिम्मत नहीं है कि वो बोल सके कि चाइना उइगर मुस्लिम्स के साथ ये सब कर रही है। नो इंटरनेशनल मीडिया आउटलेट डज हैव द ऑडेसिटी टू पॉइंट अ फिंगर एट चाइना। और इट इज हैपनिंग इन Taiwan, it's happening in Hong Kong, it is happening in parts surrounding China, and this is if all the forces unite and this gets raised in the United Nations, then only this will be solved as a problem because China has the veto power. एंड जितना आपको पता है कि वेटो पावर दिलाने वाला भी नेहरू ही था, तो आप कहीं ना कहीं कुछ भी बात करो तो नेहरू का नाम आ ही जाता है इंडिया के प्रॉब्लम के लिस्ट। इवन इन 2020 he is causing problems for what he did way back when he was in power. So these are certain things which need to be addressed, and probably with the leadership, the kind of leadership we have in India right now, I think this is the right time for us to raise such concerns so that it reaches the right people, right ears, and then it goes on top to the right place. Otherwise, this will just be discussed among ourselves, and it will just stick within each other. With and China जो monopolize करती आ रही है वो करती रहेगी, कोई solution नहीं निकलेगा। Sunny, you wanted to add something?
No, Shri.
Okay, I thought you raised your hand, that's why I asked.
No, it was by mistake, I think.
Before we end, really like to thank you because it really requires a deep research. It requires a deep research and consumes a lot of time when you are after you start looking after you start looking for data. Uh, and the good thing, there's one more good thing I would appreciate that you do mention sources when you present the data. So it's really appreciable, and I'm grateful. I'm grateful that I could be a part of these sessions since the beginning, and I did not miss any.
Thank you so much, Jay, for acknowledging, and thank you for being a part of these discussions right from the start as well. A lot of changes which I have brought into the presentation is because of the feedback that you gave on halal and the suggestions you gave on halal as well. And it is because of people like you, Sunny, Raj, who have been associated with us right from the start, Priya as well. She'll kill me if I do not mention her name. Because of people like you, we have got this confidence. Because at first we did not really have this spirit that people will join us in numbers, and then we will have an interactive session wherein we can have takeaways from the discussion, right? And once we saw that, yes, we are consistently getting people who are not only just listening to the discussion, they are giving their feedback, they're giving the suggestions, they're adding up to the discussion new points which we missed out on adding or we did not know while we were making up the presentation. That is what it adds to the entire flavor of this community. And a lot of thanks goes to a lot. I want to thank you as well for being a massive part of this. And the addition of Garvit, Nikhil, Sunny, Priya, and the other guys, it just expands our territory where we can bring in more and more awareness on such topics. And it is wonderful to have. The reason I mentioned the sources is because I remember the last time when we were doing that halal discussion, one of my friends, Mastu, asked about the graph I showed. Like, what is the source of this graph? Like, what are the numbers? How they are representing something? Where did I collect it from? And we are doing discussions which go on YouTube, and it is for people to take away learnings. So if we give flares without informing that this is official, then it won't make much sense. So that's why I'm putting up these sources, and wonderful of you to acknowledge that as well. Thank you so much. Okay, I can see a lot of hands being raised up. Priya, you want to say something?
I just want to say thanks that I got a lot of information. I don't know how you're, I mean, acquiring all this knowledge after doing 16 hours job, then you're doing all this research, then you're doing all this graphic technology, Photoshop. Wow, 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 wow.
Okay, I think that's a bit too much. But
Really glad that you're doing such a good thing that look, we are not having much time. After 16 hours, my head is gonna blow up, I feel like.
yeah, well, I agree to that point. Ever since the lockdown started and ever since we started working from home, the amount of work hours actually exponentiated. Like,
You don't
I
have to
remember.
say it. You have been speaking since last 2 hours. You don't have to say it. Okay, we all do understand.
Right. I just wanted to throw some light on this because we normally in the office we work for max to max 8 to 9 hours. That's what I work for 8 to 9 hours in the office. बट जब से लॉकडाउन शुरू हुआ है मतलब ये नॉर्मल हो गया है कि 11-12 घंटा काम करना ही है क्योंकि आप सुबह से शाम तक लैपटॉप के साथ ही रहते हो एंड आपका प्रोजेक्ट मैनेजर अगर रात तक ऑनलाइन है तो वो आपको काम देता ही रहेगा एंड दैट इज द पर्क ऑफ बीइंग इन आईटी तो जय यू हैव चोज्ड मेडिकल लाइन बहुत अच्छी बात है अब डॉक्टर बन जाओ don't come into IT
We
because this
we
is
we
like
we sorry for interrupting. The same case is also in automobile
yeah,
sector.
yeah. I just wanted to bring in Sunny and Garvit as well because in automobile, I also have a friend who works in
In the
automobile.
in yeah, in automobile it is much better if you work from the plant, because if you work from the home there is going to be no time. If you work from home you will work and work. They don't care. I think they are even wake up in 1 in the morning. Okay, सर्विस ये
Okay.
पीपीटी बना के दे अभी देना है. हाँ कब दे अभी दे दे. So yeah.
अच्छा नहीं वही वही बात है ना जब से लॉकडाउन स्टार्ट हुआ मतलब वैसा ही हो गया है इवन प्रिया इज एन एचआर शी इज आल्सो वर्किंग आई गेस मोर देन 12-13 hours एट एन एवरेज तो ये सबके साथ हो रहा है बट अगेन दिस इज अ फेज दैट वी नीड टू गो थ्रू एक बार ये खत्म हो जाता है देन आवर लाइव्स विल बी बैक टू नॉर्मल बट द प्लस पॉइंट इज वी आर एबल टू हैव दिस डिस्कशन आल्सो बिकॉज ऑफ द लॉकडाउन अगर ये लॉकडाउन नहीं होता तो शायद हम लोग ऐसे एटलीस्ट मंडे टू फ्राइडे तो ये डिस्कशन ना कर पाते हम में से कोई एक ऑफिस में होता कोई एक बाहर होता कोई एक कहीं पार्टी में होता कहीं घूमने गया होता ट्रेवल कर रहा होता एंड जिसकी वजह से ये डिस्कशन ना हो पाता सो बिकॉज इट्स अ प्रो इट हैज गॉट प्रोज एंड कॉन्स एवरीथिंग हैज तो इसका प्लस पॉइंट ये है कि वी आर एबल टू टेक टाइम आउट फॉर द कंट्री एंड द कम्युनिटी एंड विच इज व्हाट इज वर्किंग वेल फॉर ऑल ऑफ अस या सो एनीवन
Yeah.
एल्स हैज एनीथिंग
Sri,
टू से या गुरमीत प्लीज से
या श्री मैं बस तुम्हारे एक पॉइंट पे एक चीज बोलना चाहता. आप कह रहे थे ना कि व्हाई डोंट पाकिस्तान से एनीथिंग अबाउट द एट्रोसिटीज ऑन उइगर मुस्लिम्स. ओके, डू यू नो द रीजन? क्योंकि नौकर मालिक से कभी कुछ नहीं कहते. पाकिस्तान एक्चुअली इज अ नौकर. North Korea and Pakistan are just like the two mad dogs of the China. They are never ever going to speak against them. They are nokar actually. There were press conference in which Pakistani media asked this question to Imran Khan and he said, मुझे तो कुछ पता ही नहीं है. And he was like, मैं तो कुत्ता हूँ, मैं बस भौंकूंगा सी जिनपिंग के सारे पे. I don't care now.
अब एक
That's
और
why.
है WHO.
या जय
मैं ये ऐड कर रहा था कि अब तीसरा भी एक और है WHO.
राइट राइट
हाँ, WHO एक नया कुत्ता, एक नई ब्रीड आ गई आजकल. सी जिनपिंग का कैनल बड़ा होता जा रहा है दिन पे दिन.
सब चाइना के पेरोल
और
के अंडर
चाइना
आ रहे हैं
और चाइना की सबसे बड़ी कमजोरी है आज के डेट में. चाइना उनकी सॉफ्ट ताइवान सॉरी उनकी सॉफ्ट बेटी. आप ताइवान पे कुछ भी बोलिए, चाइनीज पागल हो जाएंगे एक सेकंड में. मतलब आपको अगर चाइनीज को अनॉय करना है या गवर्नमेंट को, स्पीक जस्ट अबाउट ताइवान एंड दे विल रैटल लाइक अ मैड डॉग, जस्ट लाइक बलूचिस्तान ऑफ पाकिस्तान.
Yeah, and primarily because the government of Taiwan does not want to associate itself with China whatsoever. इसी वजह से जो भी ताइवान का मैन्युफैक्चरिंग हब है they don't associate themselves with the Chinese companies एंड इसी वजह से जो भी इन्वेस्टमेंट आती है, दे आर इंडिपेंडेंट ऑफ व्हाट चाइना tells them or wants to have a share with them. And this is what, like you rightly said, this is what rattles them the most, because even though they consider that Taiwan is a part of them, is a part of China, the Taiwanese government and the Taiwanese people do not want to associate. And whatever profits that come
Yeah,
out from the manufacturing hub, that do not go to China, even though China wants to force itself on them.
and the Taiwan is a democratic, capitalistic, free market economy, just like India, US, Europe, or South Korea. So it's the duty of these nations like us to protect the sovereignty of Taiwan and don't let them fall into the hands of communists or Maoists.
Right.
That is so true. That is so true. Okay, does anyone have anything else to add? All right, I guess everyone has done. जय, आप कुछ बोलना चाहते हैं?
नहीं श्री, हो गया, बस यही था।
अच्छा, ठीक है. Okay guys, thank you so much. This was our sixth session, और इसका I guess on the order of priority जो हम YouTube में videos डालने वाले थे, we will put this one first. I mean next, because this is trending right now, and YouTube versus TikTok चल रहा है YouTube में, and this issue encapsulates what the Prime Minister said about आत्मनिर्भर भारत. तो इन दोनों चीजों को लेके हम इस वीडियो को सबसे पहले डालेंगे यूट्यूब में. उसके बाद जो ऑर्डर था हम लोग का, वी टॉक्ड अबाउट इंडियाज एंटी हिंदू कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन जो राज ने प्रेजेंट किया था. देन वी टॉक्ड अबाउट सनातन धर्म बाय प्रभु जी. वी टॉक्ड अबाउट नलंदा यूनिवर्सिटी, एंड उसके बाद सनी ने यूनिफॉर्म सिविल कोड के बारे में बोला था. सो इन दैट ऑर्डर वी विल मूव ऑन, एंड वन बाय वन वी विल अपलोड द वीडियोज ऑन यूट्यूब. तो आप लोगों को बताने की जरूरत नहीं है कि सोशल मीडिया पेजेस फॉलो करनी है, आप सब फॉलो करते ही हैं, एंड दैट इज वंडरफुल ऑफ यू टू लाइक सपोर्ट एंड शेयर आवर कम्युनिटी टू एन masse, and that is helping us grow on all these platforms as well. We are having talks with some mainstream speakers to bring on our community. Recently बातें चल रही थी सुबोही खान के साथ, and she's somewhat occupied right now with the Supreme Court hearings and the work life she has. So वो अभी time नहीं दे पा रही है, but in the future probably we'll be having her on discussion. सुबोही खान के बारे में अगर आपको पता नहीं है तो she is a Supreme Court lawyer, and she is one of those good Muslims जो मैं बोलता हूँ हम are kind of Muslims, the term I use most of the time. She is a Muslim who acknowledges that her culture is Hindu, एंड आप डिबेट्स वगैरह में देखोगे तो शी इज ऑलवेज प्रो इंडिया, प्रो बीजेपी, प्रो राइट विंग, प्रो हिंदू, एंड वो कभी भी एंटी इंडिया एलिमेंट्स को सपोर्ट नहीं करती है. So we are discussing to have her on board to talk about some topics which are generally related to halal, Islam, terrorism, and whatever is happening in India. And once we get a nod from her, then एक topic से हम रखेंगे उनके लिए, and she will be the speaker and we will all be the audience. So, all right, guys, thank you so much for joining once again. Thank you for making this session an interactive one. Once again, thank you so much for adding so many discussions, so many topic information which was not an original part of the presentation. जो भी पीपीटीज हम लोग बनाए हैं, सनी ने बनाया था यूसीसी के ऊपर, मैंने दो पीपीटीज बनाए हैं, एक हलाल के ऊपर, एक दिस वन. ऑल ऑफ दिस आर गोइंग टू बी पुट ऑन आवर वेबसाइट व्हिच इज गोइंग टू बी लॉन्च्ड वेरी सून. और आपको अगर चाहिए होगा तो यू कैन डायरेक्टली कॉन्टेक्ट मी, आई विल शेयर दिस पीपीटीज विथ यू. अगर आपको यूज करना है कहीं पे, बी इट अ डिस्कशन और बी टू यूज इट एज अ रेफरेंस और अ नॉलेज बेस, यू कैन यूज इट. मैं शेयर कर दूंगा ये पीपीटीज आपके साथ. सो ऑल ऑफ दिस विल गो टू यूट्यूब एज यू नो. सो प्लीज be in touch on YouTube especially and share our channel. जितना ज्यादा आप शेयर करेंगे उतना YouTube का algorithm जो है, it will promote our channel, it will recommend our channel to others. So thank you so much for joining, and we will see you probably on next Sunday or Saturday depending on how our bandwidth looks like. Thank you so much for joining. Jai Shri Ram, Vande Mataram.
जय श्री राम, वंदे मातरम.
Thank you, Jai. Vande Mataram.
Jai Jagannath.
जय श्री राम.
Jai Jagannath.
जय
जय जगह.
जय.